Alright everybody, you have no idea the like stressful adventure I have just gone on with my game's creation, alright? I'm building a game and I've got a couple other projects, like a ton of projects now, where I've always been trying to work on this same feature and I just couldn't get it working, alright? So basically I save variables in my player instance that then my player controller will access as a struct, and then my player will then load that save data to itself, get the variable, send it to the game mode, because that's what the server, in the case of the game I'm building, and then that guy will then save that to something, and then he will send the new updated struct to all the players, which will then update their widgets. This part here actually needed a little bit of a fix. So let's quickly go through what I did first, okay? And then I'm gonna go around and comment it and show you what I've done. So first I created all the things I need for a multiplayer game mode, that I need. So all my, game mode, my game state, my HUD, my player controller, my player state. I gotta utilize the HUD more. I could probably do that a bit better. But this is weapons, okay? So the HUD will create everything after my player controllers are then put into the game by the server. That will then tell the HUD, like, hey, create everything. Now, doesn't look like much. Let me just quickly show you what I'm doing though. Alright, so everything just says Anna right now, but that's because it's all loaded from my computer's save file, and there's only one save file. I will make maybe 4 profiles later, just so I can change it up. But for now, so if I call this one like Bob, it will now update to Bob, because this one is Bob. And if you look, everybody else is updated to Bob. You've no idea, like, they're not all overwritten. Watch, now this one, the middle one would be, I don't know, Paul Allen. And now, Paul Allen is updated to every player. That's just, to me, so good. Like, that was so difficult to do. Like, now I've got this, I can go back to my other game mode, or I'll even just continue working on this project because it's fucking stressful to figure out. But to honest to God, to have it so that only it was always just showing all of the correct information on the server, and it wouldn't tell every other player to update their widget, their player list as well. So when they were looking at the lobby, they couldn't see it. That was stressful because I couldn't figure out why. And I finally did it after recreating a project from scratch with just these things. Like, that's my whole game, was just getting this whole project working. Let's get into how I first got it working. It always, of course, it starts at the game mode. Now, on post login, so this is when the server is correct, when the server detects a new player controller being given to a client, and start their initial setup and add their controller to an array on the server, which is the which is the game mode, so my game mode. Okay, now here we are. To make it simple, everything to do with the server that the server does, I'll do like this. So let's just point to here, and then I'll drag this up here to save the color. Okay, so the server will do that, right? Let's just follow along, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. So I didn't realize for a while, but I was trying to just drag this new player controller and be like, oh, add it to the array, right? That should work. Of course, this is the new player controller that's being handed to them, but it's just using player controller object reference, but it has no actual, it's not using our actual assigned player controller for the level. So I have to, of course, cast this to this one, and then put that one to the array. So that there was the first thing. Like, it's such a small thing, but you have no idea. That's so annoying to figure out. Then I created an initial setup, which will save game check, because obviously whenever I change the name, I have to save it and then get the server to check it. But what am I saving it to is, well, I'll show you, but first I create my player save. Does it exist? if this save file exists, and like I said, I'm only using the one, I could have like, you know, multiple, so you could select your save file or whatever. If it does exist, then I'm going to load it, and then I'll save again just as a backup, and it'll return node. And if it doesn't exist, I'll create one. So yeah, if it's because it's not valid, I'm going to create it. And just in case this triggers and it is valid, it will just simply add it. It'll update all this stuff. It won't need to create it again. And C player profile is what I call, I see what it's C player profile for client player profile. So this one is on the player controller because that's a client. This is called a struct. So that's this here. This is what I've also got XP. I'm going to make it so there's a count XP, and you can see from the players now. That's my next step. So this just has name and XP. So it's a struct, which is just variables that can be accessed by everyone. And then my controller. So that is on my controller, and that will then set. So it'll set the save game struct. So of course we've got a save game. So where's my save game? Down here. I just call this my profile player save game, so I might have different save functions for different things in the future. I don't know. I'm stupid. So this here is what will then be saved externally to your computer. So when you load it, you know, it'll always be there. Like this is on your computer. You're saving this to something, to somewhere. So that will be updated depending on, well, whatever you've currently set this to. So if you've edited these somehow and then you save game, it will save it to your PC's files, which is, you know, this file here. This is the save name of that file. Alright, so we've done that. Congratulations, we've now saved the game. We then, since this will now be changed, whatever this is changed to, we will update it on the server, and we drag the client information and we set it, just because if it was loaded, like remember there was a load game, if the load game comes through, then it's going to save it to the current player, like the client, because maybe the client has no information by default. Yeah, it's 0 and nothing. So if I load it, it'll assign whatever it is, which you saw at the start of the video. I had it as Anna, and that will then assign it to the client. The client will then load the game mode. I could probably do this with the interface that I do have created upplays, but I didn't use it. I just created it because I thought I should, but I'm lazy, and I was trying to get this working, and maybe I need to. I don't think I do actually. I could probably use. Honestly, let's just double check it, because this is game mode. Let's just do that actually. I could use that. Let's just do this now while I'm here. So class defaults, let's add it. So int player list from blueprint, enter name, and then I'll compile. There's nothing in here though, so actually, you know what? I do need to have this replicate on server. I will set that up later, so I'll have that here. May as well just do it now. So update. So add event. Yeah, I'll just add this here for now. Use this instead of a cast later. Okay, so I'll just remind myself. Alright, so now it updates to the server because the game mode's on the server. The game mode is now going to run on the server, so the server's doing this, and then he is going to clear all player profiles. This will come in handy later because this here is what the server has. The server collects all of this information from these people. I'll show you how later. But we're clearing it because it's going to be triggered whenever someone enters the level for the first time. So of course we want to clear the menu and then add instantly everything. Now, I didn't do it instantly. I gave a 1 second delay just in case someone, like that, because this list, maybe there's a ton of information in the future. Right now it's instant, but in the future it might not be. So just to make it safe, I have a 1 second delay to give all of this player controller information stuff time to catch up. So by the time it gets to here, before we start sending more information, everybody's already loaded in and it should be good. Now the controllers, which is the record of every person who's connected, it will then say for everyone in the game, I want to get their client profile and add it to the server's list of all the profiles. And we'll get the player state, which is what the player currently is. And I can use this for more like things for, what do you call it, XP and health and stuff like that later. But I do want to update everything because maybe to say reduce damage, I don't know yet. Like maybe if I want to reduce damage, I'll need to specify what the player state is, like which player state is getting that stuff reduced. So I'm setting the client's player profile, like their name, to the player state, so that everyone's player state is with them, like for their player. It's just the information for their controlled pawns and whatever you want. So I'm setting that there, which is unused, but it's just good to set that just in case you add stuff to the game later. After this has got their player profile, which is all that's important for this, what I've done to work. This is just do it later. After this is all completed for every player in the game, so it'll get all of their client profiles and add it to the server. After that's done, it'll say for every player who's like connected, it will now update their player list. And if it fails, I've just got this here just in case. Well, when it's finished, sorry. So yeah. Or player profiles, which was added here. So everyone added. Think of it like a coin, putting a coin in, another coin in, another coin in. Down here, it'll then say for every coin that I put in, it will do this, which is back on my player client. This will execute on the owning client. This is what fucked me for so long. Like, oh my god. I had this on multicast, right? So execute from the server to everyone else. I thought, oh, the server's sending this information, right? So I should send it to everyone, so everyone updates their list, right? But I'm a fucking idiot because it was already doing that. That's what it was doing in here. I'm so dumb. I didn't need to send it to everyone because it wasn't doing that. So it's saying for everyone, update everyone, which was going to update nothing because it was just updating everyone with everyone. So yeah, it was. I don't know why it wasn't working. Maybe my explanation there didn't make sense, but basically I had to execute for each person that was in. It had, yeah, because it was returning their own information. Sorry, when it was multicasted, it was just bringing their player data back to them instead of everyone's player data back to them. So I have to execute it on client. Now I'm just confusing myself. Shut up. I'll continue. Execute on owning client, custom event. It'll say for all widgets. Now this here I just added in because I was just like I was just throwing shit at the wall until it stuck, and this just happened to work. So I was like, okay, I had a reference here, like I think it's down here. Maybe it's still here. Yeah, it is. So I had this like reference, and I'm like, all right, I just got to drag this reference onto here, and it will work. Didn't work. So I was like, all right, well, fucking, what else can I do? Because it kept popping up like invalid, and I tried an if valid, create it, and it's just not doing anything. So I realized, right, I'll just get all widgets. So everyone that has this, I will then add that to an array on the client. I will then get the index for it, which I don't know why this is working, to be honest. I didn't know how to get the information from the array in any other way. And I think it's just returning all of the widgets to this, because this doesn't matter when you're doing multiplayer. Like the index is just 0, which is the server. So it's just getting all of them from the server, maybe. I don't know. If someone knows, let me know. I don't know why the 0 is working. I just didn't know how else to get the found widgets into the update player list. And this is still getting the inserted player array names, remember, for everyone in the game. It will then, now I know why this works, because it's for every player that's got that information put in, is on an array, which is like, how do I show you this? Here. If I go to game mode and then click the array, it's 0 right now, but every time a player is like connected, it will add to their player array, and then it will get their player profile and add it to here, and then player profile will always be 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 being the server, then 1 being next person, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th player. etc. So in here, it's getting the first player because it's a loop for every player that's in this big list here from the server. So for the first player, get their information. And over here, I've got all the player names, right? So the first player is going to be the server. And then the second player to connect will be number 2, or number 1 in this case. And then the next player will be 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So for every player that joins, it'll assign that one to them. So if I wanted to make more players join, like more than 8, I would have to increase this list manually. I tried to do a add to widget, like scroll list. Like, trust me, I threw so much shit at a wall until this worked. Like, I tried adding a widget with this information to the scroll box, and that way I could have like, I could just keep adding players and I wouldn't have to manually do it. No, it was fucking annoying me. So I just did this. It's a very cheaty way to do it. Super simple, and it was a bit more tedious, but not really. Just control paste. And just made sure I named the first one player name, and then it would of course add it like this, which I know to just keep it in that order. And then it'll go down the list for everyone to copy paste. And then of course it'll set the text. And that's all. Oh, and of course enter name. When I enter the name, which is using this here box, which I don't know why it looks funky, but it does, whatever. Maybe it's the scale, doesn't matter. Also to make this, yeah. Anyway, so what that does is it gets the owning player of this widget, which, oh, by the way, when your player is created, it does when controller is assigned, it'll actually send, yeah, like, I think it's the server's doing this, or maybe it's me. Yeah, so when the client is finally given like a controller, this will become their controller, which only exists for them and the server. This will then play if it's the local player's controller. So obviously if it's the server, it'll just trigger false, like the server's already got one. And to show the mouse cursor, set input. Right now it's list, but I could just say whatever. I don't want to lock it to anything. I can just move it around freely. Cast to my HUD, which is the HUD. And then the HUD will say when controller is assigned, create my name widget, and create my playlist, which is the 2 widgets. So it waits for the players to connect, otherwise it won't be valid, right? Because like it doesn't exist yet. So I'll wait for the players to, exist. And this is why I also have a 1-second delay after the players connect, because this stuff still has to load. So I've given it a full second, which it's just small text. It's just integers or whatever it is. So it's not that much. Loads in a second. Yeah, that's all it is. So this just creates this. That's all the HUD does. And now, I hope I explained that well enough for you. But that was a pain in the ass to get working. An actual crime. Honestly, Unreal Engine 5, I studied this for like every day for like hours and hours. I haven't, if you go on my Steam, right? The only time I played a game in the last like 3 months, 3 months, is when some of my IRL mates were like, hey, jump on. And I'm like, okay. I played it for like 30 minutes. I've just been doing this. I'll say it's all saved as Paul Allen, because that was the last name I input. I'll create some player profiles. That'll be my next thing. So then I'll just call this one Billy Man, or Pilly. And now Pilly will be, oh, so this is the server. Right, so this one's the server. So you noticed the server updates. And then this one, I assume it's the second one, I'm going to call him Client Bob. Client Bob now updates for everybody. So if I'm running around, imagine I had that and get like activated. If I'm running around and then someone joins, they would be then added to whatever is available. Obviously there'll be a limit, because I don't want to add scroll boxes, because I don't know how to get that working properly. Throwing my head into the cement enough trying to do that. But this finally works, and I wanted to make this video as my first one. I've already got the idea for the game. I've got some really good stuff going on. Do I have Blender open? No, I don't. But yeah, I got 3D models. I'm going to work on some animations. I'll create some player profiles so I can save customization and test it. Yeah, I'm happy. Sorry if I coughed and stuff, by the way. I don't know, there might be like, I don't know, something in the air. It's annoying me. Have a good afternoon. If you liked this type of dev explanation to my whole strenuous process of learning Unreal Engine 5 and the game I want to work on, which I deleted, I made it pretty far into a template, but I into a project that I was to help me learn. I accidentally deleted a valuable file, so I hit save all often. Because when I deleted it, I hadn't opened it in such a long time. There was no autosave, and you can't recover it. So I'm actually going to create a completely separate file now and save it as working menu widget, or like lobby game, or whatever the hell, you know. Thanks. I don't care if you're subscribed. Honestly, this is for me, so I can listen to my voice, remembering how to do all of this. I made this literally just to refresh my brain. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead. But I don't really care. Talk to me though. If you've got any advice for better ways to do it, because it probably is. Let me know. Have a good one. See ya.